We can be talking about the effects of COVID-19 on the legal system in Nigeria and human rights abuses without having a custodian at hand to discuss this. And this is where I've been joined by a legal practitioner, custodian of the law, and he's no one else but Idemudia Osifo. Idemudia Osifo is a legal advisor to NBA Benin and also a member of the Monitoring Committee on Human Rights Abuses of the COVID-19 pandemic. Thanks for joining me, Idemudia.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning.
Let me start with the presidential broadcast yesterday. There has been lockdown in FCT, Ogun, Lagos for quite some time. And the activities and actions of the president, some argue that it is illegal on the lockdown without having enough measures as palliatives to cushion the effect. What do you have to say in that direction?
Quite frankly, if you ask me, perhaps maybe we should look at try to derive the synopsis from the address by the president. Lockdown to continue in 3 states, Lagos, Abuja, and Ogun. Lockdown to be relaxed from the 4th of May, Monday the 4th of May. Selected businesses to open from Monday the 4th of May between the hours of 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. A curfew imposed on the nation from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. And the restrictions continue on religious and social gatherings, and the interstate lockdown, and then of course the lockdown of Kano. Looking at that, I think that's a good plan. Actually, this is not the time to talk about legality or illegality. It's time to talk about survival. But let viewers know that what the president is doing is quarantine. And quarantine is item 54 on the exclusive legislative list in the constitution of our country, Nigeria. And it's exclusive because only the federal government can make laws on items on that list. Now, if we have that, then of course the president can activate his executive powers under Section 5 of the Constitution and then come up with orders that will preserve the nation. This is the time to preserve the nation. It's not the time to talk about legality or illegality. But if it's about legality, then yes, what the president is doing is legal.
Okay, well, good to know that you made mention of the precarious situation we're having. And again, you said what the president is doing is legal. Okay, let's leave that to rest. But again, we can't leave that to rest when we are also looking at the human rights abuses that are coming up in course of this, like the aspect where you say, okay, let there be curfew from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. and not minding the fact that there could be traffic situations or gridlock situations in such metropolis, in such centers. Again, some are going to have the challenge of, because of congestion of traffic, they are not able to get homes safely before the curfew starts. Aren't you worried about that?
Well, my take on this is the curfew is important, if you ask me, because our governor here, Governor Obaseki, had already initiated that already, because those are the hours where regulations are likely to be breached, because people are probably gathered in some public place away from prying eyes. They will refuse to adhere to precautionary measures. So I think it's a good idea.
But is a good idea. Aside the fact that it's a good idea, do you agree that there are some persons who will be caught in the web as a result of the curfew because of congestions of our traffic?
Obviously,
and
I agree.
They could be maltreated, and that becomes an abuse to their rights.
It's not they could be maltreated. As a member of the monitoring committee, we've not had any formal complaint, but
We've not had any formal complaints.
We've not received any formal complaint from anybody, but we've heard of instances where people were flogged at Ekewan Road just by the forestry office, and you expect that. This is Nigeria. You tell soldiers and policemen to go out on the street to enforce a directive, and typically they will get excited.
Okay, I think I'm not so comfortable with you hearing of it. You are a member of the monitoring committee. Don't you move around to check all of these
We move
possible
around.
abuses?
We move around, but we've not been fortunate to come across incidences where people were maltreated. But we know, and we've had information as well, though no formal complaint has been made, that there are quite
Okay,
number of human
if you
rights
hear information, you hear reports about that. Is it enough to just hear it, or to also go through the process of getting those reports physically?
Well, what we are doing, my committee is headed by Mr. Matthew Ederase, a Benin-based legal practitioner. He's absolutely dedicated to his work. We go around most of the time. Perhaps we are not fortunate enough to have experienced with our own eyes abuses.
Okay.
But we know they exist, and hopefully very soon we'll take them up.
Okay, thank you, Demudia. Let's look at the area of palliatives. We often hear, and quite evidently true, that the palliatives being given by the federal government is not enough, and it's not going round. And we hear of one aspect of the federal government having the legal backing to go on lockdown or declare lockdown. But again, what about the palliatives? Are we leaving that out? How do they survive? Because I remember you said vividly that this is an aspect of survival. Yeah. Now, it's one thing to say lockdown. It's another for the people to survive. Now, here in Edo State, we've had some stores already locked for weeks. And these are persons who get their daily bread from opening their stores daily. Aren't you worried about that?
I'm very worried about that. We've been hearing of palliatives, but I don't know anybody who has been affected or who has benefited from these so-called palliatives being bandied about by government. Until my neighbor is affected, somebody I know, until I am affected, because I'm a citizen of this country. I deserve to
but you are not most vulnerable.
If they are looking for the most vulnerable, how are they going to determine that? That is the question. It's not even about palliatives. They can talk about palliatives from now till tomorrow. The key thing is when these palliatives come, what effect will they have? In what manner are they going to come? In what quantum? Would they be enough to satisfy the yearnings of the people? They have an opportunity to look at all that now, because I'm not sure distribution has started, but we hear that things are going on in the north, but largely unconfirmed. Okay,
but in that direction, does the government have the local standby? Let me use your parlance,
Go ahead,
your words from your parlance. Does they have the local standby to embark on the lockdown when there are not enough palliatives or measures to put in place to ensure that it goes round?
I think palliatives and the lockdown, I think they are different. The lockdown is about quarantine. Quarantine is restriction of movement of people and goods so as to check the spread of disease or pest. That is a necessity.
As you lock them down, they need to survive.
Definitely, I agree with you.
So the government, you agree again, is lacking in this aspect?
Definitely, because we have not felt, the citizens are not feeling the effect of the so-called palliatives.
So what legal action can be called for the government to sit on its toes or be on its toes to ensure this is done the way it should be done?
Is it possible to take
out
legal
you are a
action?
member of the NBA, and we are yet to hear you speak in this direction.
No, talking about palliatives, we as a branch in Benin, we have been distributing palliatives for over a month now to our members, especially young lawyers. We know also that FIDA Edo has been distributing palliatives to women in the state. Government can do what they like, but we can say what they like, I beg your pardon, but we want to see what they can do to ease the pressure on the citizens.
Okay.
We want to see it. It's not about talking about palliatives.
Okay.
Let them tell us what they want to do.
We also hear of offenses in the state and the mobile courts set up by the state government to really prosecute offenders in the area of those who fail to use their nose mask and other issues as resulting to the regulations or rules concerning the containing the spread of coronavirus in Edo State. Do you see that as encouraging?
I don't think it's encouraging, and my chairman, Prince Collins Obiengba, I think has addressed that. I don't think he has issued a media statement on that.
Okay.
We have discussed it in an ESCO meeting. The government has no right to start to charge people to court for not wearing masks. Under which law are they going to be charged? You need
so the mobile courts
mobile courts have been there before now.
So, but are you saying by this that the mobile courts are not supposed to function in that respect?
They don't have jurisdiction in that respect.
Okay,
the
that's the
mobile
word.
courts can function.
Okay.
They can do other cases.
But in
that
this
fall
aspect, they
within
don't
that
have jurisdiction.
I think not, because there's no law that says you must leave your house wearing a mask.
Okay. So, as there'll be, or you made mention of the fact that very soon there's going to be a statement declared by your body in that direction.
Hopefully.
Okay. But let's look at the area of palliatives, like the one being distributed by the state government. Do you think that is laudable?
Yeah, it is. If it's down home, I know what our governor and government in Edo State can do.
Okay.
I don't have any doubt about.
We hear that some of the foodstuff, like the rice, the bags of rice, got expired and weevil infested.
I don't know about that, but if they have that already, I think it's time to start distributing them so as not to waste them, because the citizens need these things.
No, but some bags have been returned by some states. That the bags of rice, the rice itself has been infested with weevils, so
then
they can't distribute it.
Then they get fresh bags and distribute. It's as easy as that. Government has the money.
Okay.
We've been hearing of billions here and there. What is the money meant for?
Okay.
It's for the people.
In case you're just joining me, it's TMI Tuesday, and I've been having a very useful chat with Idemudia Osifo. Idemudia Osifo is a legal practitioner and also the legal advisor to NBA Benin, and he is a member of the monitoring committee set up to monitor the issues about human rights abuses courtesy of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, let's shift our grounds to the effects this COVID-19 pandemic could be having on the legal system.
It has had a great impact. Currently, there's a directive from the Chief Justice of Nigeria that courts should be locked, and that has affected courts in Edo State. But I also know that there are special courts also, or rather special sessions in emergency cases,
Okay.
in special cases, cases that are time-bound, but generally courts are locked. And with the closure of courts, obviously pending cases are tied down, new cases cannot come up. It's a difficult situation for everybody.
Yeah.
And the only way out for me, granted that the biggest case or the most important case in the world now is the case of COVID-19 against mankind. But the virus will not be able to claim victory until the last human is dead. So we're not
that won't happen.
We're not going to fold our hands and wait for that time. We have to look for a way out of the quandary. And for me, I think technology is the answer. On the 2nd of April this month, we're still in April, the Kenyan Court of Appeal, that is also a common law jurisdiction like Nigeria, delivered more than 40 judgments online in 18 criminal appeals and 39 civil appeals. Just one judge delivered those rulings online. They were broadcast to 2 jails in Nairobi via video link.
in Nairobi.
Yes, all she did was to have a monitor in front of her, and all the counsel in the cases, as they were mentioned, put up their appearance, and she recorded them and delivered this judgment.
So can we do same here?
There's no reason why we can't do same here. Our idea of technology here in Nigeria, sorry to say, is I sit down in front of my house in one hamlet at Uronigwe. I call my sister in Arizona. I have fun. I think I have technology in my hand.
It ends there.
I stick a modem in your laptop. I watch YouTube. And we think we have technology. This is the time to embrace technology. There's this common saying that necessity is the mother of invention. Now, we don't even need to invent anything. The technology is there already. All we need to do is to harness and apply. But the situation we have in Nigeria right now is that a judge cannot read the judgment of a fellow judge who, for any reason, is unable to read that judgment after he signed it.
Okay.
And we call this procedure, but we are holding ourselves back. You tell people about cloud storage, and they think you are talking about maybe a starship on the next Star Wars movie. That is the issue. We need to embrace technology. Technology is the way out of the quandary we have found ourselves.
We also have issues like some of you will have, like some of your clients who are being detained in custodial centers and facilities. Now, as a result of this pandemic...
I think they call them correctional centers.
Correctional centers, yeah. As a result of this pandemic, don't you think their rights are being abused if they are not released? Or what's your action in that direction?
We cannot allow criminals to roam free just simply because there's a pandemic. Yesterday, the Chief Judge of Edo State was at Oko Prison on prison visit. I was there as well, and I know lots of persons were granted bail, lots of cases of persons awaiting trial for a period of 8 years and above, were considered, and many of them were granted bail.
Okay, but what about those who are there who, like, for 2 months without trial? Are they part of those granted bail?
No, they are not entitled because they don't meet the
Because
requirement.
in your own local parlance, you do say that not until one is convicted by the court, one is not a criminal. It's only a suspect.
That is right.
Then how do you do in that direction?
But that doesn't stop suspects from being detained, because society cannot allow criminals to roam free or suspects to roam free.
You're not criminals because according to your local parlance, suspects.
Yes.
Okay, so in that regard, you are saying that...
in deserving cases, bail will be granted.
Okay, in deserving cases.
Even if the suspect has been in detention for just a month.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can convince the judge will grant bail.
Okay, thank you for taking our time. Before I let you go, let's look at the aspect. Recently, the Chief of Staff to Governor Godwin Obaseki resigned, and there's been this argument over the effect it's going to have, because just June 2, we'll be having the gubernatorial primary elections of APC. What do you make of this resignation by Taiwo Akerele? Do you see it as a big loss to the kitchen cabinet of the governor?
Well, first of all, I think you should have reserved this question for a politician, because I don't belong to any political party. But I can scratch the surface.
Okay.
If a man like Taiwo Akerele decides that he wants to resign from his job, it is his right to do so.
Okay.
You have a plum job, and you wake up one morning and say, I'm fed up with this job. I'm going into the unemployment market. It's his choice.
Okay.
I don't think we should start to question that, especially with the information in public domain. He said he resigned on principle, and he's happy with the governor. He stands with the governor. Supports.
Yes. My mind went to the underlying principle and administrative governance, on the grounds of administrative governance and principle. You are a learned person. What does it mean? Or what can it be said to mean?
That he resigned on principle.
Yes. Does it suggest that there's a deviation from what should have been adhered to as a principle that will make him to drop his resignation. What's the
Well, it
import of
depends.
that statement?
He's the best person to tell us why he resigned.
Okay.
If he resigned for personal reasons, I don't think we can question that. And even if he resigned for a political reason, we don't know what that reason is. It's possible he's preparing himself for higher office.
Okay.
It's possible. So we don't know what the reasons are. But the important thing is, while he was still on that job, his ability was unquestionable. There was no scandal. His reputation remains intact.
Okay.
He's retired.
Although we heard reports of the DSS invading his residence, and again, that claim was refuted by the DSS director Edo State, Sheikh Waziri. What do you make of this drama? Like what is happening even in social media platforms?
If the DSS are refuted the allegation, I think we should just let it go.
Okay, what's your advice in terms of, because we still have this impasse, I don't want to call it impasse, this feud within the party that seems to tear the party apart. And we have this June 2nd governorship primary election. What's your advice for the party?
I don't have an advice for the party.
Really?
I'm not a politician. They know best what they're up to. But I think what you may describe as a rift is the attempt to prevent our governor from getting a ticket to do his second term.
Okay.
Well, that's still an attempt. It's still an attempt, and we'll leave it at that. The people will have the final say. I know primaries is decided by a selected few. I think the governor will scale through. He's done a good job. There should be no rift in the party.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Idemudia Osifo, for coming. Well, this is where we call it a close on the discussion segment. Don't forget, insurance segment is next. Do stay with us.